Welcome back to Rebel Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, Katie.
I'm your other host, Michelle. Welcome.
Welcome. And so today we are talking about unplugging.
Well,
I just literally thought of that phase in the 90s where every band did like an unplugged version of things. Eric Clapton and Nirvana, whatever.
Nirvana Unplugged in New York. Yep.
Yeah. That whole thing was so cool for so long. Anyway, that's not really the unplugging that we're talking about, but maybe it is. Maybe that's relevant to people.
To me, it almost feels like an overused term that kind of doesn't,
Yes.
I'm like, what does that even mean anymore when you're unplugging?
Exactly.
And it's like, how realistic is that if you're not actually on a vacation where you can be secluded?
All right, let's start there. What is unplugged? If you're not Eric Clapton, what does that mean to you, Michelle? How do you unplug?
So there's definitely some practical elements where it's like, I probably have to have my phone on silent or in the other room. There has to be a no notifications room that I'm in. We just need to be taking
separate.
A short break, me and my phone.
That's it. Love it.
But I also find like it's actually also an internal shift where I stop feeling on call to the outside environment in any way.
Yep.
I feel like, yeah, like that's there. I'll come back to it. But like, no, that's not the time for it. Yeah, it's protective and it feels very timeless, which I really like.
As in, there is no sense of time while you're doing it? Yes.
I mean, it does eventually end, but there's a way I'm not tracking myself in the same way or what I'm doing.
There's an ease or a spaciousness about it.
A spaciousness and a bit of freedom in terms of what I might do. Yeah. That's just like, no one needs me imminently. Or I've taken care of all that needs to be taken care of for me to feel okay about unplugging.
I think you speak to something important and to me feels amazingly relevant given, I don't even know what day it is, February 2nd, 2026. I think the whole point is that this whole philosophy, if we think about politics or news, of flooding the zone that social media has made possible, there's that balance between wanting to be a responsible global citizen and also being able to protect your mental health. What is that balance? I think for me, that's what unplugging is. And it's not a permanent dislocation necessarily, but maybe it's like hitting the pause button where I know that whatever it is still running over here in the background, but I'm going to actually remove myself from it and take a bit of time. And it's not that I'm unaware, it's just that I'm focusing over here and I'm choosing to sort of stand down. Does that make sense? Because I think that if we're following what's happening politically in this country, in the United States, wherever, the world, generally speaking, for me, there's a sense of having to always be armored or on guard or ready because it's an assault, right? The information, it's not usually lovely things that we're fed via the algorithms, right? It's violence and fear and desperation. And I find that even, mentally it takes a toll, but even physically, I'm walking into whatever is on YouTube and it's like people that I trust and podcasters that I respect, but the information is just so aggressive and violent, so much of it. It takes a toll, not just mentally, but also physically. One of the benefits of unplugging for me is to give my nervous system a chance to calm down so that I can step back into the fray. I've used this analogy 700 times, but it's a marathon. And so if I'm running a marathon, I have to take breaks because if I don't take breaks, I'll pass out. Right? So I'm looking to not metaphorically pass out.
You have to refuel to even make it to the end of the marathon.
Of course.
It's, I guess, I don't know why I'm reluctant to that metaphor today. I think maybe because it is such a grueling experience. Like a marathon, maybe for the first little bit is just like some running. And then like, I think it hits a certain point and you're just like, why am I still doing this? This sense of something that is big and enduring and difficult that you're gonna have to come back to, that you need to be resourced enough for it. And it's almost like I get this picture of this big rushing stream happening, and it's like you just kind of step out of it for a second. The stream's there, you can still see it, but you're like, I'm going to take a breather on the side for a moment because otherwise I won't be able to swim in this stream.
So I think you're right. And I think you've hit on something that, a place where the analogy breaks down. If I'm running a marathon, I can quit. I can stop. I can say this, I thought this was a good idea. As it turns out, this is not for me. I'm going to quit. I can't really quit my life. I can't quit the world. It's not
Yeah.
possible. So the stream is better. If I'm going to get anywhere, I have to be in the stream. But if I take a step outside the stream in the short term for a minute to catch my breath, or like I said, to let my nervous system calm down to the point where I can then get back into the water, I think that's a better way. I feel like a salmon now, sort of swimming upstream. That's what it feels like. Although, yeah, anyway, I'm swimming upstream to their death. Never mind, ignore that part. But
I mean,
but
you
it's
will
just
die
this,
eventually.
okay, fair enough. But it's just this inexorable force that surrounds me that I have no control over. So if I can't control that, and we've talked about this before, if I can't control the external realities, unless I'm God, which I'm not, unfortunately, I can't control my external reality. What I can do is control how I support myself. And that includes unplugging every now and then to literally catch my breath before I
Yeah.
step back in.
Yeah, and I think that body awareness is so important. I find it very difficult on social media because the stream can change so quickly, where it's a cute dog video and then something extremely violent. And I don't know what that says about my algorithm, but just like where it's like you're laughing 1 second and then the next second you're horrified or you're just
What
like,
am I
oh
looking
my
at?
God. Or yeah, you know what I mean? So the social media aspect specifically, I find very difficult. But the idea of in order to take in the news, there's going to be a certain amount of bracing that happens in your body, and that takes a toll. To be able to not feel that for some moments is really important to well-being and long-term health, and not everybody can do that. Some people have to live kind of braced
Right.
periods of time, right? But it's like we have a certain level of choice because of where we live and our circumstances, being responsible citizens that are informed and trying to maintain some sense of wellness and balance. I think it's a
Well, so
tension.
that, and right. And I think the next step there is, I mean, I'm trying to maintain a level of wellness for myself, but also because the work we do is rooted in service. So this idea that if I need to keep myself, it's like parenting, really. I need to keep myself intact so that I can be of use to somebody else.
Yeah.
Just for me, it's also for the great. We all have our roles to play based on the power that we're given, the privilege that we enjoy, our natural talents and skills that we've developed. And so for me, my contribution, I think, mainly is to try to be a therapist and try to help people heal themselves in a world that is incredibly unhealed. Anyway, and to do that, it's sort of a Sisyphusian. Anyway, I feel like Sisyphus rolling that boulder
Yeah.
up the hill sometimes, which is fine. But to do that, and I'm totally happy and I feel very blessed to be able to do that, I need to take care of my own mental health so that I can be available to others. And I feel like that probably resonates with you as well.
It's like you have to be able to find a certain level of grounding within yourself to
Yeah,
be able to hold effective space for somebody else.
that's
First
right.
of all, the person's going to feel that from me when they're in the room with
Yeah.
me, but also it's going to be very difficult for me to set myself a little bit aside and focus more on the person and be able to help them in a specific way if I'm completely overwhelmed.
To extrapolate slightly, I work with so many teenagers. This is what I'll say to parents. It's not selfish. It's actually responsible to take care of yourself so that you are available to be a parent, a caregiver, or a friend. I can't help you if I'm not taking care of myself. We all know this. But I think when we decided to talk about this topic, I thought, oh, we'll get into what unplugging means and what that looks like. I don't even think that's important. I think that's individualistic. Like, whatever that looks like, fine. The first step is to stop. Like, stop engaging with whatever it is that's causing the, like, whatever plugged in is, stop engaging with that and take a step back mentally, physically, emotionally, all of it, like really cold turkey for however long, to
Yeah.
really give yourself space. I keep bringing it back to the nervous system. My brain is maybe fine, but my body takes more time to calm down. And what is surrounding us is so agitating, I think, so confronting in different ways, that a little bit of space,
Yeah.
the first and most important step. And then from there, go for a walk, have a bath, have a glass of wine. I don't care, whatever. But stopping is the first step, I think. Or pausing.
Yeah.
Pausing maybe is a better way to say it.
Pausing. Yeah, I think that's right. It doesn't have to be for as long as you think. For
Oh,
certain things, maybe they'll take more recovery time, but there's definitely been moments in my life where I felt a sense of just like, I got to keep going, I got to keep pushing. being able to actually just take a few moments to even
Yeah.
just like breathe or like literally stop moving and just be like, okay, is it that urgent? Like, is it that pressing? Do I have to do it with this energy, right? Like, I'm still going
Right.
to do it, but does it have to be like, ah, just like
Well,
pushing through?
maybe what you're alluding to, or what it sounds like to me, is like shifting gears. So if my plugged in is like still and rigid, then maybe my unplugged is getting up and moving around. It could be the opposite, depending on who you are, right? Depending on how you manage stress, how you
Yeah.
sort of, protect yourself from stress. It's
Yeah.
figuring out a way to shift that and do something different.
I mean, I don't know that much about the different gears, but if you're moving around in fourth gear, but you can actually accomplish it in second,
That seems more efficient.
it seems like that might be easier on the car
And
long term.
I do know a little bit about cars. You get a lot more control in second than you do in fourth. So
Okay.
depending on how hard things are, maybe slow it down, downshift, and then you can keep going. It's more sustainable. All right, so unplugging. I unplugged recently. The hard thing now is to plug back in. I'll do that tomorrow.
You gotta rev yourself back up.
Yeah. I'm curious about what each of you has found works. When you decide to unplug, what is restorative? What feels restorative? What helps you sort of maintain that balance again, or gives your body the chance to calm?
Yeah, what's supportive for that to happen? If you find it hard to find those moments, what would it take to shift that for yourself?
And speaking of support, if you would like to like and subscribe, that would be very supportive. We'd appreciate that very much. Is that a good segue?
I love it. You're getting so smooth at these.
I'm on fire. All right. Okay, thank you. Until next time.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. Bye.